How to make the easiest shulker farm in Minecraft. These are resources you will need for this farm, and this farm will give you between 150 to 190 shulker shells per hour. So anyways, let's get into it. Alright, so you can build this farm pretty much anywhere you want, even in the overworld. However, to make building this farm as easy as possible, I would recommend you head into the end, and then head through one of these portals that you get once you kill the dragon. And then once you've gone through the portal, I would recommend you look for one of these end cities, which I have for example right over here. Now the reason we're going to be building this close to an end city is because we're obviously going to need some alive shulkers in this farm, and because we then have some alive shulkers right here, building the farm close to this temple is going to make building the farm a whole lot easier. So anyways, now it's time to start building the farm. Now you have two options for building this farm. One is either building it above the void or building it a bit up in the sky close to one of these temples. Now the reason for this is that we're obviously going to have some shulkers inside the farm, and you don't want them to teleport to the nearby island. So what I'm going to do is simply build it out from the corner right here. So what I would recommend you do then is head to the corner of one of these islands and then simply build roughly 30 blocks going outwards. And you will have to build this little bridge going outwards using a block that shulkers cannot teleport to, which can for example be glass or leaves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 29, 30. And of course, if you're choosing to build this farm next to an end temple, what you can do is for example head on top of here, and as you can see we have some shulkers right here. So what you could do then is simply just build 30 blocks going out from here if you want to. So where you decide to build this farm is fully up to you. So anyways, once you build yourself out, I would recommend you build yourself a small platform. So what you can do is just simply expand the tip of this pillar by 3 blocks to the left or to the right, simply so you have some space to stand on, and you can do the same on the other side too if you want to. Alright, so what you will have to do now is place yourself a double chest on top of these 2 glass blocks, then head behind this double chest and place yourself 2 hoppers going into that chest. Then once you've done that, you will have to place yourself 2 temporary blocks going up from both of these hoppers, and then you will have to destroy the 2 bottom ones. Once you've done that, you will now need to get yourself 2 hopper mine carts, as in one on top of each hopper. So to do that, start with the left one, place yourself a railing on top of the hopper, then hopper minecart on top of the railing, and then you will simply have to walk back a bit and try to destroy that railing, pretty much like that. And then you will have to do the same on the other side. And then once you've done that, you can actually push off these minecarts by accident. So what I would recommend you do to avoid that happening by accident is simply by placing some blocks surrounding these minecarts, pretty much like this. And of course, once you've done this, to make sure shulkers we're going to have on top of these blocks don't teleport under there, is that we're going to now place ourselves some buttons under these blocks, pretty much like that. So anyways, once you've done that, what you will have to do now is head to the left and to the right of these 2 blocks, and then place yourself 4 slabs going outwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, then do the same on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then once you've done that, you will have to place yourself 2 buttons on top of the first 2 slabs, then do the same on the other side. Then place yourself a soul sand to the left of that button, and of course on the other side to the right. So what you should have now is pretty much on the first 2 slabs 2 buttons, and then on the third one you should have a piece of soul sand. Alright, so what you will have to do now is build yourself a 2 block high wall going all around this, and this will have to be built out of blocks that shulkers cannot teleport to, so for example glass or leaves. So yeah, then just build yourself a 2 block high wall all around this, or pretty much the thing we've built so far. So 1 block and then once more. Alright, so once you build the wall all around this, what you will have to do now is place yourself a button on top of the second glass block or the second wall block that's kind of in the back right here. Then of course do the same on the other side. And then once you've done this, what you will have to do now is build yourself a roof on top of this entire room using slabs. However, you do not need to place a slab on top of this button, so pretty much here yet, but place it on pretty much every other block that's kind of open and exposed. Pretty much like this. So once you've done that, what you will have to do now is break yourself into this room and then place yourself a button on top of all of these blocks beside the one that's above the soul sand. And then you will have to place yourself a water source on top of this soul sand, and of course do the same on the other side. So now if you break one of these slabs to make sure this works, if you jump into here you should kind of be pushed upwards by the bubbles, pretty much like this. Alright, so what you need to do now is build yourself a small glass staircase or a block staircase going up to this room right here, and then you need to run some railings pretty much going into this room, kind of like how I'm doing right now, and then you need to run them down on top of all of this glass. And then you just need to run these railings until you get pretty much to the temple where you have the shulkers. Alright, so as you can see, I've run some railings all the way over to the shulkers. Anyways, what you will have to do then is pretty much just get some railings under the sky, then place yourself out a minecart, and sometimes the shulker will go into the minecart. However, if it does not, simply build yourself the railings going up to the side of this shulker. Pretty much like this. And if you now place a minecart there, it should teleport into it. And what you will have to do now is pretty much just push this shulker within this minecart pretty much just back to the room or to the farm. And yeah, as you can see, it is going over there actually by itself without any railings. Although I might need some hair powered rails, actually no. But yeah, as you can see, it is pretty much going into the room. And now that it is in the room, what you will have to do now is break the minecart by hitting it once, and what should happen now is that the shulker should end up inside its room. However, one very important thing I forgot to mention that you will have to fix right away is that the shulker will actually be able to teleport to the these blocks. So what you will have to do is place some buttons on top of these blocks, both on the back side and on the front side. So yeah, anyways, once you've gotten a shulker into here, what you will have to do now is of course break the glass on the other side, break this button, replace it with a glass block of course, and then simply run the railings into this room instead. And then you will have to go back and get yourself a second shulker. So we are back right here, so what I can do is simply just run myself some railings top of here, pick it up with a minecart, and then just push it back to the farm, pretty much like this. And yeah, as you can see, it's going pretty much all the way back to its farm by itself. However, sometimes you might need some powered rails, and it actually ran all the way up here, which is pretty nice too. So once I've gotten it up here, simply destroy the minecart and it should land inside this spot. So what you will have to do now is pretty much just destroy all these railings and of course these two glass blocks. And while you destroy these two glass blocks, make sure to quickly replace a button on top of these blocks. And also to briefly say, you do not need to use buttons. However, buttons are generally the cheapest thing you can make and place here, so that's why I'm using buttons. So now the farm is almost done and we really just have two more steps. One of them is to cover up this room, and then the second one is to get ourselves a snowman inside this room and another snowman inside this room. So what I'm going to do now is pretty much just spawn myself a snowman right here, and then once I've done that, I'm going to cover up this roof. Then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Boom, then cover up this roof. And as you can see, the shulkers have started taking damage, but do not worry because that's supposed to happen, and that's how the farm works. So yeah, as you can see, the farm is currently working, and how this is working is that the shulkers will pretty much end up killing themselves. And once they have killed themselves, what will happen is that the shulkers actually respawn themselves, which I believe you saw happen right here, or they will kind of duplicate themselves once they die. However, as they're duplicating themselves, they will still drop shulker shells, so we can head into this chest and see that we have gotten 2 shulker shells so far. And as the shulkers die, you will obviously get more and more shulker shells. Now, one quick thing to mention about this design is that these snow golems can actually die sometimes. Now, it happens very rarely and it does not happen often at all. However, if it does happen, what you can do is simply just head on top of here, break the roof, build yourself a new one, pretty simple. So yeah, if they do happen to die, just place yourself a new one. It is really not that difficult. And another cool thing about this design is that you can easily copy and paste it, so you can have another design pretty much right on the other side. So if I wanted to, I could rebuild this exact design pretty much right here, and then instead of getting between 150 to 190 shulker shells an hour, I could end up doubling that, which is pretty great. So anyways guys, that is pretty much it for this one, and yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions about how this works or anything like that, feel free to leave the questions down below and I'll try to answer as quickly as possible. So anyways, thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.